Welcome back, everybody, to the pain train, the death and capitulation of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. It's all over. Sell your bags. Get out now while you can. Obviously, I'm joking. Welcome back to the channel. My name's Haas. Today, we are going to be discussing some news and what's been going on with Elon Musk, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and everything else. We're also going to be looking at the bear and bull case of what could happen after this capitulation. We're going to be talking about whether or not the cryptocurrency market is actually over, if the bull market is over. First, if you like this content, go ahead and give me a like. It really helps share these videos out. And as well, subscribe if you want more crypto news and content. First, I want to get into this tweet from Elon. So Mr. Whale at Crypto Whale had tweeted out basically a statement saying that, after this, Tesla's going to announce that they're selling all of their Bitcoin. And Elon Musk, in my opinion, very irresponsibly replies, indeed. Obviously, this is very irresponsible, and I'll show you exactly why. Somebody with as big a platform as Elon Musk, you do got to be careful. Now, we are entering into like the free speech territory of what is and what isn't allowed to be said about global markets. So we do got to have those discussions about like what can and cannot be done. But looking at this is pretty damning for the crypto market when you see something like this. And a lot of people just trust Elon's word, regardless of what the tech is or what's happening. So Elon then reiterated later on in a tweet after Bitcoin Archive had tweeted out saying that Bitcoin had dropped 20% because Elon Musk made this Indeed shitpost. He then clarifies and says to clarify the speculation, Tesla has not sold any Bitcoin. So obviously Tesla has not sold Bitcoin. It would be stupid for Tesla to sell Bitcoin, especially now. And obviously, I don't think Bitcoin is dead. I think Bitcoin is going to deal with this capitulation as it deals with it. And it is what it is. I do think, though, there is still a lot of bullish sentiment in the crypto market. Specifically, my portfolio is outperforming both Bitcoin and Ethereum. So right now, there are some lights at the end of the tunnel, but we do see Bitcoin capitulate. Now, we could see a couple of things result from that, but we'll talk about that in the charts. Going over the charts, before we talk about any speculation or anything, I want to talk about what's happening right now in cryptocurrency. So we're on the daily chart for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is testing down at the resistance level that we've talked about before, that 44,000 resistance level. So we're bouncing in and around there. We've made it around this box. So it is likely that we'll at least hold for the time being. It's showing a good amount of support for now, but that's not to say that we can't capitulate further from here. So realistically, it is possible to breach this zone and then start floating around here. Now, I do think once we're in here, I do think the lowest we'll see is probably around the 32,000 mark. Now, why do I think the 32,000? Again, this is another big level of support. We see back here when we pumped up into the bull market, we went up and then crashed down, back down to that 32,000 and held a good level of support there. So we're calling that our new area of support at this level if we do breach this area. So we do have another line to hold. However, it would look pretty bearish going down and breaking through this 44,000 mark. So if we do break through this support level, it is very possible to see a bearish outcome in both the short term and the long term. In terms of long term, just to clarify, in terms of long term, I mean months, not years, to preface that. So again, I'm long Bitcoin, absolutely, and I'm going to be looking at anything under these levels as a buying opportunity, but we'll talk exactly about that. So let's talk about the speculation. I've talked before about how this capitulation reminds me a lot of when Donald Trump talked about COVID and capitulated the stock market. It's very reminiscent of that, but with cryptocurrency. Now, of course, the NASDAQ is down, the Dow is down, so traditional markets are getting beaten up a little bit, but really the focus here is on cryptocurrency. Now, we have seen a dramatic decrease in terms of our crypto dump. So we've seen a total dump of approximately 30%, give or take, which is so far, I believe, the biggest dump that we've experienced this bull market. It wouldn't surprise me if it's just shy of maybe this dump, but I'm not going to measure it out. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It's still a bad. So let's talk about the bull case. Now, I've prepared two fractals here. This fractal is of March. Now, I've discussed this before, and actually Benjamin Cohen did mention this in his recent YouTube video. So we're going to take a look at why I think this looks so much similar to that March capitulation, what that could mean for us. Now, the big thing here, you see with this fractal and how it's set up, it does show the bottom is being tested, same as before, but it does show it was able to bounce up against that line and end up going into a recovery. Now, the recovery is going to be slow. It's not going to be quick, but eventually we might gain into another succession of the bull market, maybe a part 2, if you would. So you can almost consider this an intermission in terms of here. Now, I would say that any Bitcoin under here, if you don't have Bitcoin, that's definitely a buy. It would absolutely be a great idea to start cashing out alts that are still at their all-time highs and put them into Bitcoin, maybe at this level, maybe a little bit lower. But it is possible right now that we do see Bitcoin recover at these levels and are able to pull out of this. Now, it's equally as possible that we do breach this level and we go into a subsequent bear market. I don't know how long it could be. It could be extended. It could be short, but we'll have to take it when it comes. And again, this is specifically with Bitcoin, so not necessarily cryptocurrency, but we're going to be talking about crypto right after this. Now, the second fractal I prepared was the fractal that we saw back in 2017 when we actually capitulated down and out of the bull market. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I don't think that this is what's going to happen. One big reason is look at just our market peak in terms of Bitcoin. If you look at the market peak, it's more of a channel rather than a peak. And when you look at the 2017 peak, it was a peak, right? So we see this more as a valley type deal. It's almost like a reminiscent of Head and Shoulders. So you could say that this isn't the market peak, which I'm probably in that camp. I don't think this is the market peak. I think obviously the news is capitulating us out of a bullish sentiment for Bitcoin, which could spark a bear market. But I still think that we're not at the market peak in terms of this bull market. So I still think there's a continuance to come. But you do see this fractal does break down and breaches down below the 44,000 mark, but still should find resistance back around the resistance line of 32,000. So is this scenario possible? And yeah, the scenario is possible. Is it likely is a completely different question. I would probably say the scenario is a lot less likely just because of the bullish sentiment in the crypto market. I still see a lot of gas in the actual crypto market itself. Maybe this could be the result of what happens with Bitcoin in the near term, and then it trades around the 32,000 to 44,000 for a little bit until finally gaining its ground and then continuing its spark up. But I do think right now we're probably not going to look at a scenario quite like this. I don't think we're going to see a capitulation outside of our red box here. So I do think that we are going to go and mimic what we did back in March of 2020 rather than the crash in 2017. And again, our orange line here is actually our all-time high back in 2017. So you can see here, Bitcoin is far above where it was just a few years ago. And again, if you're long Bitcoin, even if you don't like the dirty energy aspect, mathematics is still a thing. The coding of Bitcoin is still the most elegant store of value that you could possibly get into. So realistically, in the next 10 years, that doesn't really change any of the price targets at all. This capitulation I see as more of a short-term hiccup for Bitcoin, but we obviously aren't going to see any serious ramifications down the road. The only thing that could really be detrimental to Bitcoin is government restrictions because of the energy costs. But even then, we've all seen what happens when governments restrict things. Typically, that just makes it go up in value. So realistically, am I bullish long-term Bitcoin? Absolutely. Am I bearish short-term Bitcoin? Yeah, probably, but that's more because of what Elon Musk is doing and everything else. For one final discussion, I wanted to bring up this post here that I made 6 hours ago. Is Elon Musk good for the crypto space or bad for the crypto space? So 83% of you did say he's bad for the crypto space. And actually, I am going to side with this camp regardless of what my comments are. And the reason being is because I do think that somebody of Elon Musk's stature needs to be very responsible of the things that they say and needs to make sure that they're not shit posting that could capitulate and lose a lot of people's savings. I think that's detrimental and could be looked at in certain lights as market manipulation. So I think Elon has to be careful, but I think as it stands right now, he is a net bad for the crypto space. That being said, I do think that over time it will change, and hopefully his tweets get a little bit better. I would have liked to see him learn a little bit from back in the 420 days of Tesla stock, but obviously he hasn't, and we're going to go through this. There are, however, a lot of good comments, a lot of good discussions talking about how Elon Musk is going to make cryptocurrency more mainstream in the long term. So yes, in the long term, he may be and probably will be a net positive to the crypto space. But there are a lot of people with negative sentiment, like Cactus Jack here, discussing that really things like this and comments like this are pretty irresponsible. So I do agree with the majority of the sentiment. Again, I think Elon Musk in the long term should be a net positive to cryptocurrency. Obviously, it's hard to see that right now because of the issue, but I do think Elon is long crypto. I'm long crypto. You're long crypto. We're all long crypto. Go buy crypto. That's it for me, guys. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe. And of course, happy hodling.